Alright guys, it's Waz with Ghaz on a bike. So, I know it doesn't look like a bike, right? So let's get that bit out of the way to start off with. It's just representing a bike model. Like the pain boy on a bike is not a bike, it's a trike. It's just a representation of what, if you was to field this, it would be Ghaz power armor on a bike. I don't know whether that's legal or not, but I've made something similar to this before. I made it for my friend John, who's no longer with us. I don't know where he is. He's disappeared off the face of the planet. But anyway, I made one for John, and it was similar to this, but it wasn't Ghaz. Now, I absolutely love this model, and I do think one day Games Workshop will revisit this model and remake it. But at the moment, it's still a good model. People don't like it too much, from what I understand and what I've read, because it's a fine cast resin model now. And to be honest with you, it wasn't that bad. I know Games Workshop should stick to plastic models, but it wasn't that bad, if I'm honest. I don't get why they don't make them out of plastic. This model would be fantastic if they made it out of plastic. But out of resin, it's a bit more difficult to work with. I really don't get why they don't make it out of plastic. So, anyway. The model itself is resin, and the rest of this here is plastic card, and I believe they're resin and he's plastic. So, Ghaz on a bike. There is some work in progress videos, and like my good friend Will pointed out, the blood trail goes off the track this way, and it shouldn't do. The blood trail should go that way. So when these heads were put on here and they started dripping blood onto the track, Ghaz went backwards. So that's why the blood trail goes this way. It's my model, so shut the fuck up. I'll say how it goes. But thanks, Will, for pointing that out. I must have had a brain fart that day when I did that part of the model. So, shit. Anyway. The tracks, I started doing this type of, this style of track now, which is a bit more detailed than how I used to do them. So all it is a flat rectangle piece of plastic card, drilled 2 small holes, then drilled 2 big holes. Then I added a bit of plastic card there, and then I added this, I forgot what it's called now, hinge bit here, and then added some more detail, and then stuck it all together, and here presto, you get a really nice looking track. Luckily it stuck together nicely. There were no mistakes with it like there is on some of my other tracks, but you won't see them once they're painted up and you put a bit of rust on them. You don't see it. That's the way it goes. With orc stuff, once it's all battered and knackered and everything, and you've painted it and it's got rust all over it, and then a bit of red paint on it or whatever colour you do in your army, you don't notice it. You really don't. And I really like the way these tracks came out. All plastic card, guys. There's some BBs here, white BBs, because I like the white ones. They seem to glue better than any of the other colours. And I actually drilled a hole in these and put this bit of styrene. This is a styrene rod. It's not hollow. It's a rod, and I glued it into the ball. Let that set first, and then I stuck the balls onto the side here. That's what the balls are in. There is a little bit of styrene tube, which I made a like a polo mint size thing, not size, but and put, you know what I mean. And then I stuck the ball into that. I had to model this around Ghaz because most, as you all know, sorry, I need to drink a bit of my coffee. As you all know, Ghaz comes preset how he is, and like I said a minute ago, this is a resin model, very hard to work with. So I had to, believe it or not, how I did some of the movement on it was I heated it up with my heat gun. I bent it, I moved it slightly and bent it. And just see if I can show you. Do you know what? You can't even tell. I'm looking now to try and show you some of the areas that it bent, because I had to change the stance of it. So what I did was I glued Ghaz together until I was happy with how he was. I left these bits off though because I didn't want them to heat up, and then all I did then was heat up his arm. So I made this part. There's a little seat there. I don't know whether you can see it. He's actually sat on a little seat, and that's like a little you know, like a little seat thing. He's got pedals here. His feet are on pedals, right, and they're glued down to there. So I built all this around Ghaz. I had to get him sat right. I put this little back plate thing on. That like pillow thing there is green stuff. So I stuck him on the seat, pushed his back against this pillow, let it all dry. Then I started moving his arms into the position I wanted it to move in. You can see that bit there. That's a little bit bent. But I had to bend that as well because it didn't match up. It didn't match up with the claw lock. So I had to bend that down. It was really weird. I can understand why some people really don't like fine cast. Do they call it something? What do they call it? Fail cast? Is that what people call Games Workshop resin fail cast or something? So yeah, so I built this whole thing around Ghaz, so it looks like he's like on like a what do they call them? Like a wheel? No, what my mum calls them a wally trolley. It's what old people sit on and they get about quicker. You see them mostly on holiday and stuff. All these old people on these wally trolleys. But that's what this is. I suppose it's like a wally trolley for Ghaz. And anyway, so that's it. So yeah, so like I said, I built all this round. I heated up his arms. I moved them into position. I moved this arm into position, and then I stuck these on, and it all fell together really, really nicely. It was brilliant how it fell together. I absolutely loved making this model. This was a fun model, and this is the boss of my army. And there he's big badass power armor, and now he's on a bike, so he gets around even quicker. So this comes off. I didn't stick this on. I made this so it because this will be the first thing that snaps off when you're moving your shit around from game to game to tournament or whatever. That'll be the first thing that breaks. So I've just built it so it comes off and you can, you know, look after it safely and it doesn't snap off. So that's the only reason why I did that. And not like I'm going to go to any tournaments. But yeah. And then once I built that bit, I sort of already started building this engine bit. And it was a really good fun to build again. And I love building these little engines. And they almost look like they really work. I mean, this one hasn't got amazing detail on it. An amazing amount of detail on it. Sorry, I'm biting a bit of skin. There we go. But on the other, if you look at the killer cans, which I'm going to do next, I've started being a bit more elaborate with the detail on the actual models. So like people keep asking me, oh, have I used a rubber band for this bit here? And it's no, I haven't. I've used some plastic card. Now it's this is the plastic card. Nope, that's not it. This is it. So this is the plastic card here. And this is what I got from my model train shop in York, England, where I come from. So this stuff is got like ridges on it. And I mean, you can obviously buy the plastic card that's got different stuff on it, and this one's a slightly bigger one. I mean, I'm lucky. I have got a model train shop in York that I just pop along to and get as much plastic card as I want. and I get as much of this stuff as I want, and it massively helps me with my modelling. Again, this plated stuff. I also got this corrugated stuff as well. This is for model train stuff as well, and the list just goes on and on and on of how much stuff I can get. And like I said, I'm very, very lucky because I can go and buy with my eyes rather than, you know, going on eBay and looking for stuff and hoping that when it turns up, it's going to be what I actually wanted rather than not really what I wanted. But do you know what? I still use eBay, guys. I buy a lot of like lollipop sticks from eBay that I use. They're solid styrene sticks. I'm trying to dig one out now to show you, and they're called cake pop sticks. These are them here, and these are styrene sticks. So you type in styrene sticks or cake lollipop sticks, and these are what you'll come up with. And you get, I think they're 150 millimeters long, and believe it or not, these are the base for my wheels down here. So I cut a piece off about that long, and then I cut some styrene tube, put it around that, so it makes basically that there, and then I build up my wheels that way, as you can see, and they work really, really well. And it's just tricks of the trade, guys. That's all you need to do. Tricks of the trade. Learn, play with ideas, and that's all I do. I play with the ideas. And again, that plastic thing, you get them next to nothing. I think it's about £1.50, and you get something like 25 sticks, and it's brilliant price. I mean, sometimes they do come from China, so you have to wait a little while. But again, inside that part of the engine there, zoom in there, inside of that engine there is one of these, and that's there. Look, see if I can get it there. So that goes that there, and then I've just added some styrene tubes, cut some styrene tubes up, stuck them on, and that's the engine. Same as that part there. Look, it's built it up there, styrene tubes. Games Workshop bit, and that just adds extra detail. Look, it adds extra detail. So yeah. So again, this is Ghaz on a bike. That's what it represents. And like I said, guys, this is one of my favourite models. I've built 3 of these now. The first one I built was just a normal knob on a bike, then on one of these Wally trolleys. The next one I built was an armoured knob. I can't remember what you call them. You can buy a box of 3 of them. Anyway, and I built one of them on a bike, and he had a lucky stick or something. He was like representing a boss. And then this is the 3rd one I've built now, Ghaz. And I, like I said, guys, I think he turned out really, really well. Right, so that's it for this one. I want to thank everyone for kind comments that you put on my other videos. It's good to be back, guys. I really am pleased to be back. I've got loads to tell you. I've got loads of things to talk about. And I'm not going to do them now because this is running on to nearly 14 minutes now. So I'm going to leave this video here, and I'll do the cans next. Right, guys, thanks for watching. Be good.